Hello everybody, my name is Erika and today we will be doing a stream about food delivery app illustrations. Okay, this is the art. We have 4 illustrations and I'm going to share the link with you in the description of the video. So we have here the lenses searching for the ingredients requested. Then we have the cooking in preparation, so it's going to be a looping animation. Once what we ordered is ready, it's going to be delivered, and so we have a little package that is flying. And then at the end of the experience, it's going to say, your food has arrived, enjoy your meal, maybe leave us some stars or stuff like that. So I made this expandable. Look at this! We can remove parts. They are going to be flying like this. So you can find the files here in the link that I sent you, and on top of these you can also find them like divided in 4 different files. You also have the PSDs, so you can import them yourself, or you can just use my file that has all 4 of them. To get them back to how they're supposed to be exported, you'll want to match the root, which right now I have moved to the side so that we could have each of the images in one of these 4 areas here. So we're going to be able to reset these by setting back the root to 0, 0. Right now I'm gonna keep this like this instead because it's like nicer, but once you want to actually export it, you're not gonna do it this way. I'm just gonna do it for the stream's sake. Also, this blob here, I made it transparent because we have a dark background, but it was actually made for a light background originally. So in case to get it back to how it was, we can just turn on the transparency in the set slot color here. But right now I'm keeping it this way. We want to start creating some bones so that we can move our little app elements in here. We need a bone for the magnifier here, so we select the create tool here. After selecting the parent bone, which is the root here, I'm going to hold Control, which is Command on Mac, select the images that I want to be part of my bone, and while I keep Control selected, or Command if you're a Mac, I'm going to select the various images that I want to keep within the bones, the bone that I'm creating. So I'll create one like this. I guess I'll place it here and going down like this so we can manipulate it more or less in the center. So if I'm going to test this, which by the way testing is always best done in animate mode, then when I rotate, okay, my magnifier like this, yeah, I love the movement like this, it's gonna be this way. Then let's create also a bone that will hold the list. I can actually just choose for this one, new bone, and it creates the bone in the middle of this list, which is a bit more to the side than I would have imagined. So I guess I'll translate it a bit more in the middle. Okay, I like that. And I'm going to also add the list writing inside. Then I guess I'm going to create bones for all these bubble bases that I had. I can select them all at once, these slots, and then choose new bone to create the bones in the correct place. Okay, now that I have the main bones for the bubbles, I can also add some little bones for the inside food. Carrot, tomato, bread, there it is, and then choose new bone. I'm gonna recolor them maybe so I don't get confused, or maybe I'll give it some nice icon. What I use? I'm gonna use this one, so it represents the item inside. I'm gonna choose this. I'm going to have to parent the various images so that they follow the correct things. If I compress with the right mouse click, I can reopen and find everything collapsed. It's basically the same as pressing this button here. I'm going to reparent this bubble tail, and it's going to be faster if I select the item here and then press P to parent it to the correct bone, like this. I'll compress them again. Let's see what's out. The carrot green, which I can parent to the little carrot holder. And I think that these bones could be enough to create a small animation. So then we can head to animate mode, and we're going to create a looping animation. We're going to make the magnifier look around. Yeah, and I can also have the list kind of float up and down. I'm going to select the list and then maybe key it in place. So I'm gonna key it also on frame 50. Then in the middle, I'm gonna move it down a little bit like this. How do we make it better? That's very simple. We select the keys by clicking and dragging, so we create a selection in our dope sheet. And then we're going to apply curves. So I'm going to select here the preset Bezier curves, which by the way is also present in the curve here. I don't think I need the playback, so I'm gonna close that. And here I click on this or this, they are the same. Okay, let's say I want to change how the curves behave, and that changes also the animation. But right now I think I'm good with the basic kind of Bezier curve. We have the little list. Now let's also get the magnifier to look for the ingredients. At first I'm going to key the initial position here. Yeah, right now I'm just translating, and also at the end, so that we have like a full looping animation. Then let's see, when it's doing this, maybe we move it like this. I'm gonna copy this key. Here I wanted to move it immediately, but near the end I wanted to stay a little bit longer in that place. And the same for this other key that I just created. I'm gonna select it, and I'm gonna make sure that it stays a little bit longer in that place. A third position, going down, and in here I'm going to move it so it also looks down and it's in between these three. Okay, now let's space them out so we have it here. Moves here, down, and then it goes back like in a triangle sort of movement. We're going to key the scale here, and at the end, so it goes back to the original scale, here it's going to be a tad bigger. Scale works so that if we use this handle here, it's gonna scale in one direction, here in the other, and if we click in the middle and drag, it's going to scale uniformly. Now I can also just click outside, and that's going to scale that for me how I need it. Okay, then let's add little Bezier curves. It's too fast. I definitely want to slow it down. Then I'm gonna double the list wobbling here so that it's doing it twice. And I'll extend the movement that this magnifier is doing here by selecting the bone, then doing a selection. And then I'm gonna go on the side of the selection and drag it. Now it's all slowed down. Then I can play with how distant the various keys are to create a different effect. I wonder if I can add automatic wobbling by adding physics to this. Let's see. I'm going to select the magnifier and see if the physics are going to work without me doing anything by adding physics. It added the wobbling whenever it moves, but I don't enjoy the wobbling that much. How about we make it very bouncy like this? Okay, so it was worth a try. I don't like it, I'm gonna remove it. No more physics. I guess it would be nice if, like, the lens, instead of being very precisely arriving where it needs to be, it kind of bounces in place. So I'm gonna select the keys of the translation, and I'm going to drag this handle so that it overshoots a little bit. Yeah, it's not too bad. Okay, I think I'm gonna use this curve. Then we're going to add some animations to the bubbles. Okay, here the laziness is supreme, so let's select the translation tool, then key the position of the bubbles at the beginning and at the end. Perhaps just like the list, we're gonna make this movement twice, and we're going to, in the middle, move it up and down. No, okay, what I noticed is that the bubbles are moving, but like the contents aren't following them. That is terrible, we have to fix it. How? We just go back to setup mode and we reparent each bone of the item to the corresponding bubble. I am pressing P to do so very quickly, and so I'm selecting the carrot body and pressing P to reparent it to the bubble. Then the bread, press P and parent it to the bubble here. Then the mushroom, press P, and we also parent it here. Okay, and now we go in animate mode. Yes, now it's working. I'm going to save. Make this more interesting by selecting the various bubbles. I'm gonna apply curves. So here I'm gonna select these, paste it here, select them all, and then apply curves just like we did for the magnifier. So now they are sort of just moving like this. So the first movement is done. Then I'm going to get them to, like, not move all in sync, because, like, it's good, but it could be better. So we're going to select here the little tomato bubble, and I'm going to apply an offset by enabling the offset tool here, and then moving this a little bit to the side like this. Then I'm going to select the bread bubble, and I'm going to offset it by 10, since the one before was 5. And then it's doing this. It's already better. Then I'm going to select the mushroom bubble, and I'm going to offset it by 15. I'm satisfied. This looks nice. we are going to also add a little bit of an offset to the little items inside, making the items bigger when the magnifier goes close to it. Oh, that is so smart, Brother Castiel. Yes, we can do that. Okay, let's see when it zooms in. Let's say that when it zooms in, I'm going to increase the size of the tomato bubble and tomato inside. I'm going to increase the size. Oh, that's gonna be so nice. That's such a nice idea, thank you. So it can be as simple as that. Then do we want to have this happen also on the others? Also very simple, we just copy these keys and we paste them on the other items. So maybe I'll paste this here. So I guess that I'm going to just enlarge these two to represent the fact that it's the tomatoes and the bread that it's going to be used. Here I'm going to paste this. But it's too close to the magnifier, looks bad. So see, it's like it's not pointing in the correct place. I guess I'm not gonna place it there. Am I the only one bothered by the Mac being behind the paper and not the reverse? But you're looking at the magnifier reading. So you'd prefer the magnifier to be in front? But like the list is like this. So now I pushed it back. So you think it's like this. It's gonna be in front. I moved it. I'm just gonna be doing this and then I'm gonna copy and paste this animation on the others. So when it's going up, it's supposed to follow behind, like lag behind a little bit like this. And it reaches the top and then it goes down again. So it lags behind like this. I could actually also remove this key here. So I'm going to copy these keys here, delete this, and paste them here. With curves it's nice. So I'm gonna copy this, paste it on the mushroom, which for sure can have the same kind of animation, but we have to remember to add an offset to that. So I offsetted this bubble by 15. So all I have to do here is to offset this too. Yeah, it's now following the motion, looks nice. And then for the bread, I'm gonna apply this 2 here. Offset it by 10, so it's the same as the other. Then for the zooming part, how about we apply the same keys to the tomato too? Maybe it zooms in a little bit too much. So it's like this. I'll bring it to be the same. So I'm gonna enable adjust, and then in the scale here, I only select this. Okay, I'm gonna scale something like this. So it's like bigger, but not too big. Let's increase it, but not that much. Like it's very subtle. I'm happy with this. I'm gonna apply the same to the bread now. And I'm going to paste this animation on just the bread here. So it matches. Okay, so that's our first animation. Now let's see the second one. We have a pan and we have all these little items floating and also some fire down here. Let's create the bones for all these parts. New bone, and we have all of the food pieces here. Then maybe I can select the various flame oranges because they are a little bit more down. The ideal position for this would be probably at the bottom. Okay, let's select the create tool. Then I select the bone that is gonna be the parent, in this case the root. I am in setup mode. Always important to be in setup mode. Then I can select here the orange flame and then the red flame, and I'm gonna create something like this so I can scale it up and down. Reselect the root, select Control, then Alt. If you don't want to reselect the root every time, when you create the bone, you can hold Shift to be automatically redirected to the previous bone, which is the root again. So Control to select the images, release Control, select Shift, click and drag to create the bone, and we're ready. Control, Control, Shift, and voila. Then up here, I didn't draw this one too nicely, so I can select the bone, press Alt, and then redraw it so it's more centered. For the last one, holding Control, releasing, and creating the last bone. Then all that's left is to create a bone for the pan. I think I'm gonna create it from the handle, so I'm gonna get a movement like someone is holding that. I think around here because it's where the hand would be. I select the handle first, and then I just, I could have actually selected the handle with Control, then the rest of the parts. And then I'm going to create a nice bone here. Oh, finally, we have something where we can create something interesting, because, as you can see, I created 2 sides for this pan. So we can have the contents go inside the pen, but we can also create a little bit like of a 3D effect. So only if you have Spine Pro you can do this part. We'll need 2 bones, 2 extra bones for this. A bone in the front at the closest point to us, and then this is going to be pen front, and then another one here in the back, which we're going to call a pen back because we have so much fantasy. Okay, now we have the 2 bones. We want this bone in the back to follow what the one in the front does, so that then we can create the illusion of depth. So we're going to select pen back, new, transform constraint, and we are going to select the front bone, pen front. Okay, then to get this to work, we want the bone in the back to not move when we're going to activate the constraint, so we're going to press match at first. Then after this, we're going to set the translation so it moves in reverse compared to the bone in the front, so -100 and -100. So we're going to create a mesh just for the pen here. Now gonna do something that it's not possible to do in Spine Essential, but if you skip like the creation of these, then you may also do it in Spine Essential without the pen being fancy, but the rest is gonna be good, it's gonna be doable. Maybe I could do 2 versions. I will do that, but for now, since you're looking here, let's also see how to get it to be a bit more complex. We'll create a mesh for the front and also for the back. I'll create a mesh, edit mesh. Let's try tracing. Sometimes tracing does a good job. I mean, it's fairly okay, so I'm gonna use this, but clean it up. If we want to get a nice 3D effect, we're going to need, I'm dimming so you can see better what we're doing. Okay, we'll remove the useless extra vertices. Okay, we want some sort of parallel lines because they are going to help us convey the shape. Like this, good. Here, zigzags, no good. We want like parallel lines like this. So we could create some additional vertices, just so it's smoother, because after all, the rest of the file is gonna be super simple, so a few more vertices is not gonna kill us. Unless like you have to optimize, then in that case you may want to do a sort of low poly version of these. Getting them in pairs like this, where we have these parallel lines like this, it's gonna make it easier also for us to apply the weights afterwards. Maybe I'll want an extra vertex here. For now I'm gonna pretend I don't. Okay, that's a good shape. I'm gonna accept this. I'm just gonna remove this and space it out a bit more. To get the effect like of 3D inside, we're going to need some vertices along the line here, because we need to separate this side from the inside that it's looking at the top. So let's just add a few here. Boom. Done. We're going to see if we need to add a few more vertices, because maybe this part is gonna look very geometrical. So in case it looks too geometrical, we just add a few more vertices here and it's gonna look better. Then we're just going to always the one that is closest to us first, so that the vertices sort themselves correctly. Okay, then I'm gonna switch to animate mode, and I'll create first a test animation, one that does this. It breaks it like this at first. And then, okay, let's do it like this. And then in here it does this. So it gets them very close, so it's easier to test. Then if we want, we could also like rotate it like this, just for the sake of seeing what happens. And let's apply the weights so that this doesn't look like a broken thing. So here, the first thing we want to do is to connect the parts that are supposed to be connected. What's connected? Well, these parts in the middle. How do we connect them? We apply 50-50 to the weights of those parts so that they stay precisely in the middle without wandering around. So 50 is what we set here, and the 50 is also, let's also select this. It's also gonna be set here. We just type in the weights view 50, press enter, and that sets it in place. Then we need to do the same here to connect these parts. And we'll apply 50 here too to connect it. I'm going to apply some smoothing, but what smoothing did this? We need to get this to look outward more. Plus we need these parts in the back to also look like they're far away. So we're gonna set this to be the most far away. It's actually easier when I don't use smoothing and I just do it manually.
Then if I'm not sure, I can verify that this looks like it's in side view. Then I'm gonna focus on the front because the front looks broken. See, it's actually easy to manually edit these parts. Right now what I did is I made it cylindrical in a way, but it's kind of super distorted at the other extreme. So I'm gonna pause here and I'm actually gonna get it back to look nicer. So it looks like a pen in the other extreme position. Okay, then let's play the animation and see if this is better or not. Then I'm gonna cycle back to the other extreme where it's doing this. This is not very nice. I'm gonna drag this up. I see some problems though. Okay, this, I was not supposed to move this. This was supposed to stay at 50. Here on this side, this sort of detaches. I think that the problem is caused by the fact that these do not overlap perfectly. So I'm going to edit this mesh and add a few vertices so that this part can be anchored properly. So here I can see that these are like going where they're not supposed to go. So I'm gonna set them to 50. So I'm gonna add those two vertices that I said in the beginning I might need. Okay, and that I think will be the fix that is needed. Indeed, needs to be closer to something like this. Then to be sure, I'm gonna get it in this extreme. So I know that this is the extreme that I should not touch. So I'm not gonna touch it. Theoretically, it should be like this. Let's see it in the opposite direction. Yeah, I think more like this. Do we want perfection? Well, sometimes we do. Do I care about having it perfect in this instance? No, so it's good enough like this. I could add more vertices. I'm not gonna... It's fine. Even if it's not like perfect millimetrically, it's okay. So I'm gonna call this a day. So how are we going to animate this? Well, we want the various food parts to get inside the pan. I can start from this pose so that, for example, if we were to export this as a PNG, we could have the first frame like be this neat version. Also, if it was a sticker, we have the first frame looking like the illustration, and then we create like the looping thing that goes back to here in like the in-between of this. So here, let's key the translation, maybe also the rotation. We could have them rotate, it would be cute. And at the end, they have to go back to how they were. It's fine, it is the secret of productivity. Yeah, it's true. Also because like sometimes I get stuck on some tiny detail, but let's be real, this is gonna be tiny on a screen. Nobody's gonna notice that the pixel here, it's not gonna match. It's fine. Right, we can move on to the next thing. So, also because I just noticed that when I drew this, I am evil. Like, this isn't even like matching perfectly, so there was no way I could get it to be perfect when the drawing itself is not perfect to begin with. Oh yeah, I was about to animate these, and I wanted them to fall inside the pan, so let's get them inside that pan. I select them all at once. I translate them down. Okay, I just realized that I give it the wrong draw order, so I'll need to get this pen front to be actually in front of the rest. So let's find it here. Let's bring it above the food pieces. And now when we go back, the food pieces are inside the pen, as they should. But we could separate the translation axis here. But I'm gonna key both just in case. Then here, I'm gonna move them to the side. And then here, I'm gonna move them to the opposite side. So they're doing this. Whee! Now they're rotating. Let's make them rotate. How am I gonna make it rotate? Like once. Let's see, it's gonna start the rotation from here. Let's do it in the dope sheet. At the end, it's gonna do like a 360. So I'm gonna type in local axis 360. Bam! Let's see. Whee! Let's get the pan to move maybe, and then I'll adjust the rest. Also for the flames, we can just... the flames are gonna be simple, so maybe I'll start from them. So for the flames, we're just gonna be doing them with scaling. Okay, I'm gonna be scaling them like this. We're gonna be scaling them multiple times. We're gonna make them smaller. Okay, not like this, but just in one direction like this. And then I'm going to copy this, paste it, copy them all, paste them here. And then I resize this until it fits here again. I guess something like this, so it looks like flames. Is it too fast? Maybe like this. Yeah, okay. To me, this is realistic enough. So I'm going to copy these keys, paste them here. I hope they are looping, and I can discover that by pasting here. Okay, yeah, okay, it's good. Then I'm gonna resize it so it ends at the right spot. Let's get this to be interesting. Maybe I'll offset these two. Wow, I select this, and then I offset them a little bit. This is so funny. I don't know. How about this? Well, it looks like fire. I guess it has a personality like this. Okay, then let's move the pan, so the pan is interesting too. So when it does this, that's where it should go, like kind of in the back. Okay, for it to detach, here is where it should be aiming up. Okay, make it do this, so it means that it will have to do it faster. I'm just randomly applying curves, and that actually improved the animation. It set some nice curves all by itself. Well, let's use this falling down position to instead get it to be higher. And let's also remove the rotation keys that I accidentally added. So the problem here is that when it hits here, it doesn't have the same speed as the rest, because it's going much higher. It should instead, I guess that we could get a better idea if I just zoomed out to see the projection of the movement here. And in fact, if I get this line to be a more logical line, then if it has a linear sort of movement, it's gonna be better. I want this to be like the middle point of a sort of straight line trajectory. Oh, I know, I can use this, and I'm gonna favor them until I get some nice lines. Okay, that worked. I'm gonna offset this here. Can I somehow apply curves here? Oh, I can set the Bezier handle to automatic. Oh, it's doing things. Now it's passing through the pen, but we're gonna adjust it. Let's delete all of the keys here. I don't care. Okay, no more movement in theory. Okay, so now it's just going up and down. They're just doing this. Where the pen is doing this, I think it could go slightly more down. Like it's catching this. Then it throws them up. Maybe I get it to even more down like this. Maybe it goes slightly more up than that. Whee, like this. The pan definitely helps, because now I know where I have to throw the food, and the food is not gonna look so unnatural anymore. I'm gonna save this selection by pressing Ctrl+1, so I save it where it is. Does it fall too slow? I think so. So I'm gonna anticipate this. This is where it's gonna be up in the air again. And then it has equal time to be up in the air. So like this. Okay, it's getting somewhere. It even has a small bounce. Here, I'm gonna move. I'm just gonna rearrange the food. Okay, this is good. I'm gonna rearrange them all so they fall in place. As you see, like also like this, if you were just using Spine Essential, this would be like decent. I think I could speed up this whole animation, and I deselect here, and then I select everything, and I just make it faster, like this. It seems like it's super slow still, so let's make it faster. And maybe we want some of them to rotate in the opposite direction. Like this one, it could totally have like this and rotate in the opposite direction compared to the others. I'm just gonna remove the minus in here, so they are mixed. The gravity should hit them differently. So I'll press 1. I'll filter on the gravity things. So yeah, that's correct. And in here, instead of doing this, I want them to fall like this. Maybe like this? I think they are rolling too much. In this section here, get this to hold the rotation a bit. In the middle, I'm gonna key the current rotation of these. Then I'm gonna move it here. Actually, copy them, move it here, and then also get it to be here. Then let's see. You keep saying that the food slides upstairs. Yes, that's because I moved the pan down. That's the problem. So if I don't move the pan, I'm not gonna have this problem. See? There we go. No problem anymore. So instead, I think I'm gonna get this to be in the right position, like kind of earlier. And there we go. Maybe I'll get this to rotate. Okay, more like this. Then maybe we add a little bit of that movement for which we did the controls. Maybe we get it slightly like this, and then when it goes up, we do it like this. Let's see. Maybe I should get it to go a tad higher and up like yours. How about it overshoots a little bit? So it goes like this. Let's see. Okay. I'm satisfied. I guess it's enough for this session, and next time I'm gonna do the other two so that I don't do them rushed. So we saw some relatively simple animations aside from the 3D pan. The rest is totally doable in Spine Essential, which is cool. I think it's totally usable for apps, especially when you have such flat art styles. You can also replace these with actually realistic images, different art styles. The movements can be so simple. Really, this is what Spine Essential could be great for. Thank you again. I won't be a cook next time because we're delivering the food. Bye bye!